Welcome to the Black Bibliophile podcast. The Black Bibliophile is a podcast where I, Jazz, read and talk about popular and little-known books, comics, zines, and authors. To quote Haruki Murakami, if you only read the books that everyone else is reading, you can only think what everyone else is thinking. And with that, let's start the show. Welcome back to the Black Bibliophile podcast. It's me, your host, Jazz. And yeah, this week is all about graphic novels, manga, comics. So get ready for some awesome art and wonderful sequential stories. So for this week's two books you should check out, the first book is Pink by Kyoko Okazaki. Here's the summary. Yumiko moonlights as a call girl because her day job doesn't pay enough to feed her pet croc. Haru, an aspiring writer who has nothing to say, sleeps with a woman his mother's age, not just for the money, but to work on his powers of observation. So when Yumi's stepmom turns out to be Haru's sugar mommy, it's time for shenanigans. A little bit of drinking, a little bit of blackmail, and a visit with Croc is enough to change lives and maybe add some color to a comfortable but bland life. So Pink is a graphic novel that I just picked up randomly one day. I'm a person who's attracted to covers of books, so this one kind of pulled me in. It's a very simple white covered book with pink font that says Pink. And I had no idea what the story is about. And I found it really entertaining and actually a really cute story that's kind of provocative. It is not for children. It is a manga, so it's read, I think, right to left. Yeah, right to left. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I enjoyed Umiko. She's a really interesting, carefree girl who really just works and moonlights at night to feed her pet crocodile. That's like the center of her life. And she falls in love with this boy, Haru, and things get really complicated. I definitely recommend this book, and I think it'd be a fun book. It's only one volume, so no need to worry about getting multiple volumes for this one. And yeah, it's super good. So check that out and get it from your local bookshop. The second book is I Love This Part by Tillie Walden. Here's the summary. Two girls in a small town in USA kill time together as they try to get through their days at school. They watch videos, share earbuds as they play each other's songs, and exchange their stories. In the process, they form a deep connection and an unexpected relationship begins to develop. In her follow-up to the critically acclaimed The End of Summer, Tillie Walden tells a story of a small love that can make you feel like the biggest thing around, and how it's possible to find another person who understands you when you thought no one could. I Love This Part is a book I picked up at a shop called Quest in Claremont, and I really, really, really love Tillie Walden's art. And the first book I read of hers was Spinning. So I definitely check that out. But I Love This Part is this very atmospheric book about these two girls and their relationship together and how they create this small love, like this small world around themselves to keep each other safe. And eventually that friendship blossoms into love. So I love this part. I love it because it is this huge atmospheric story with these two girls that are actually drawn larger than life. Like they're the size of mountains and they're basking in prairies and leaning on skyscrapers, but it's these small intimate moments happening on this gigantic scale that drew me in. And the book is wonderfully drawn and the writing is perfect, and it's a simple story that pulls at your heartstrings, and it's just beautifully illustrated. So definitely check out I Love This Part by Tillie Walden and Pink by Kyoko Okazaki, which you can probably pick up both at your local bookstore. So yeah, let's move on to the next part of the show, the author spotlight. This week I chose Yazawa because she is someone that changed my life completely with her book, Nana, the manga. I feel like I've talked about this manga in passing multiple times, but I rarely talk about the author. So here's a bio of Ai Yazawa. She is a Japanese manga author. Her pen name comes from the Japanese singer Eikichi Yazawa, whom she is a fan. While most of Yazawa's manga is published in Japan by Shueisha, publishers of Reborn and Cookie, Nana was serialized in the latter. Series like Paradise Kiss have appeared in non-Shueisha magazines such as Zipper, published by Shōdensha. Yazawa's most famous manga include Teninshi Nanka Ja Nai, Neighborhood Story, Paradise Kiss, and Nana. All 5 volumes of Paradise Kiss were released in English by Vertical Inc. Nana ran in a now defunct manga American magazine Shoujo Beat. In 2003, Yazawa was awarded the Shogakukan Manga Award for Nana. Nana was made into an anime produced by Madhouse and a successful movie with a sequel in Japan. In June 2009, it was revealed that Yazawa had contracted a sudden illness and had to be sent to hospital for treatment, putting Nana on hiatus. She returned from hospital in April 2010, although has yet to reveal when or if she will be continuing Nana. Yazawa's storylines are generally centered on young women and their relationships. The characters are always very stylish, and she is known especially for her hip sense of fashion. Yazawa herself attended fashion school after high school, but did not complete her studies there. Another key point is her often rebellious characters who tend to be juxtaposed against more traditional ones. I chose Yazawa because, again, her book Nana changed my entire life. I discovered Nana when the anime was on Netflix, which was ages ago, and it kept popping up on you should watch this. This is suggested for you. And I was like, I don't know how you guys knew I was into manga or anime. Please leave me alone. And I kept avoiding it. And eventually one day I was sick in bed and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch this. And I binge watched the entire show. I think it's over 20 episodes and I needed more. So then I hopped online and, started reading the manga on different websites that I don't think I should mention here, but we all, read our manga and pirate it in a way if it's not sold or has been translated in America yet. And just like a side note, manga is extremely expensive, and I think the price of manga is ridiculous. For one volume, it could be $20 for a black and white manga book. I just cannot, and I understand why kids have a hard time getting their hands on volumes, because to this day, I only have 1 through 12 of the Nana manga because I used to go to Anime Expo every year and find the $5 manga guy and buy the collection in chunks for $5 because it's literally worth that Anime Expo ticket to get cheaper manga. But I digress. You can also check out manga at your local library. But I chose Yazawa because of the impact her book has had on my life. Nana is a manga about 2 girls who share the same name, Nana, and they're both moved to Tokyo at the same time. And Nana-O is a rock star who has a band and who's moving to Tokyo to forward her musical dreams. And Nana-K is a girl who's chasing boys and who doesn't quite know what she wants to do yet, but she's moving to Tokyo to be with her boyfriend. And basically these books follow their lives, and it's a very slice of life book. There's no magical realness. It's just these 2 women who move to Tokyo and end up spending their lives in this awesome friendship that kind of borders on they should probably be dating, and it kind of leans into my queer sensibilities. So I think that's also why I love Nana and Yazawa. But yeah, her books are also extremely, like I said in her bio, she's very focused on fashion. The looks of each character are impeccable. Nana is gorgeous in her Vivienne Westwood style, which also this manga introduced me to Vivienne Westwood. Thank you. I love the rings she wears and the fashion. It's amazing. I could go on forever about how Nana has impacted me. It has impacted my sense of style, has impacted my reading patterns. It has impacted just everything. And Yazawa, the creator, is a huge part of that. If you want to check out Nana, like I said in the bio, the book has been on hiatus since 2010. So I think the book ends on volume 21, and it does end on a massive cliffhanger. So I do not quite recommend reading the book if you are going to be devastated that there's a cliffhanger that may or may not ever be resolved, which is fine with me, because as somebody with chronic illness, I understand how hard it is to work and get through things like that. So I'm like fine with Ayazawa never finishing this story. I just want new readers to know that it may not ever be finished. But a series that she did write that's also very good, that does have an end, is Paradise Kiss, and you can pick those up at your local bookstore or independently owned bookstore. And yeah, Ayazawa, she's amazing. Let's take a break. Welcome back, fellow Bibliophiles, and let's hop into this week's book review. We're going to do something a little bit differently. Instead of focusing on a traditional novel or a book like that, I am going to review a manga. 2 volumes of a manga called My Brother's Husband. So I'm going to read the summaries to both volumes, and then we'll just hop into my review. So the summary for volume 1. Yachi is a work-at-home suburban dad in contemporary Tokyo. Formerly married to Natsuki, father to their young daughter Kana, their lives suddenly change with the arrival at their doorstep a hulking, affable Canadian named Mike Flanagan, who declares himself the widower of Yachi's estranged gay twin, Ryoji. Mike is on the quest to explore Ryoji's past, and the family reluctantly but dutifully takes him in. What follows is an unprecedented and heartbreaking look at the state of a largely still closeted Japanese gay culture, how it's been affected by the West, and how the next generation can change the preconceptions about it and prejudices against it. Here's the summary for Volume 2 of My Brother's Husband. As Mike continues his journey of discovery concerning Ryoji's past, Yaichi gradually comes to understand that being gay is just another way of being human, and that in many ways remains a radical concept in Japan even today. In the meantime, the bond between Mike and young Kana grows even stronger, and yet he is going to have to return to Canada soon. In fact, a fact that fills them both with impending heartbreak, but not before more than a few revelations come to light. So, My Brother's Husband is written by Gengoroh Tagame and is 2 volumes. I came across these books. I've just seen them around. I think the first time I saw My Brother's Husband was when I went to Kala 2 years ago. At the Massive booth, they had, I think, a couple copies of it, of volume 1. And I was really interested just because of the title, My Brother's Husband. You don't see a lot of gay-focused Japanese manga. And if you do, it's like yaoi, and it's purely sexualized erotica kind of books. And this book was different because it's a relationship, like slice of life kind of book. Yaichi is like a strict stay-at-home dad. He focuses on taking care of his daughter. He's a great, dutiful dad in the book. And Kana is like this fun, audacious 6-year-old who loves to learn and loves to run around. And one day, like the description said, Mike Flanagan shows on their doorstep saying, "I am your brother's widower," and Ryoji, your brother's widower, who is Ryoji, and Yachi has to take him in because that's like the polite thing to do in Japanese culture, is to take in family and house them, and he has to explain to his daughter who Mike is, and that brings up the whole gay conversation and all of these things. And at first, Yachi is very against this, and very like anything new and weird he's very put off by. So he's like, okay, no, I'm not sure I want to explain this lifestyle to my daughter. I'm not sure I'm okay with this. And eventually throughout the book, he starts to learn that his prejudices are unfounded and Mike's just a guy who happened to love his brother. And he's learning about how this could affect his daughter and how gay lifestyle really isn't something he should be. The gay lifestyle that his brother Ryoji was living isn't something he should be ashamed of. And he realizes that he hadn't talked to Ryoji since Ryoji came out to him. So Yachi realizes that even though he wasn't vocal about his prejudices, his actions created this rift between him and his brother, and he didn't get to see or be a part of this part of his brother's life. And I think that's a really interesting thing to explore, exploring the Japanese culture and how they deal with homosexuality, and also exploring relationships through these two characters' families, like becoming one, is really interesting. And I also like that Kana, Yaichi's daughter and Ryoji's niece, or Mike's niece, is kind of the filter between like, oh, should we not like them because they're different? And Yaichi has to look at his daughter and go, that's not right. I don't want to teach her to be prejudiced towards these people. Mike's a nice guy, so I should rectify my prejudices, so I don't want my daughter to further carry this stigma towards gay people. And I really enjoyed going through this journey and watching Mike deal with and learn to become a part of Yaichi's family, and Yaichi growing along with his daughter to love Mike and treat him like the brother that he is. I thought it was really great, and honestly, I recommend this book to everyone because it like calls attention to prejudices you don't even know you have, and it also just is a wholesome, cute book. The author, let's give you a little bit of author background. Gengoroh Tagame was born in February 3rd, 1964, and is a synonymous Japanese manga artist and art historian. He is one of the most influential creators of gay manga, noted for his works depicting graphic themes of pseudo-masochism, sexual violence, and hypermasculinity. His later works include all ages manga series, My Brother's Husband, and Our Colors. I think the themes of loss, tolerance, and family are a great thing, and this book is a great way to introduce homosexuality and those types of themes and prejudices and all of that into family life. And I think it's a great book to dive into either on your own as an adult or with other children. So yeah, check out My Brother's Husband, Volume 1 and 2. You can definitely pick it up at your independent booksellers. And yeah, let's move on to our brief moment in comics. This week's brief moment in comics isn't so brief because this whole episode has been inspired by comics. To keep the tradition going, Bitter Root Volume 1, Family Business by David F. Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green is a beautiful book, and let me read you the summary. Once known as the greatest monster hunters of all times, the Sangre family specialized in curing the souls of those afflicted by hate. But those days are fading. A terrible tragedy has claimed most of the family, leaving the surviving cousins split between curing monsters and killing them. Now, with a new breed of monster loose on the streets of Harlem, the Sangre family must come together or watch the human race fall to untold evil. So, Bitter Root is a beautiful book, illustrated by Sanford Green, written by David F. Walker and Chuck Brown, about black monster hunters. It is probably one of the coolest graphic novels I've read in a long time, and I definitely think you all should check it out. The art is immaculate, the colors are beautiful, and the writing is great. I love the fact that it's based on this family who's been hunting monsters their entire lives, and they're trying to not only kill these monsters and cure these monsters, but also solve these mysteries surrounding their family of missing family members and all of that. And I think it's really cool that this is a book about black people fighting monsters. You don't see a lot of monster fighting zombie books that center black families and black people. And I like that it kind of taps into the hoodoo traditions of root work and all of that. Definitely check out Bitter Root. It's an amazing book. And yeah, there's not much to say about it without ruining it, but it's got great writing. Volume 1 just came out in trade. You can pick up that at your local comic book shop, and I'm sure they have it in stock because it was a very, very popular book in single issue. And yeah, I hope they come out and write some more because I need to know what happens to the Sangre family. Also, they came out with a one-shot recently called the Red Summer Special that kind of gives you the history of the Sangre family and how it leads up to the events that happened in Volume 1. And you should definitely check that out because it gives you a little backstory that is well needed and much appreciated. But yeah, I hope they write more. And now, on to our final segment, the Zine Corner. This week I'm focusing on Sophia Foster-Dimino's zine called Zine The Cowboy, which is a self-published zine that is focused primarily on Minsky, who is a recording artist, Mitski, and it's a Minsky fanzine based on the Minsky album Be the Cowboy. And so all the illustrations and words are focused on this album, Be the Cowboy, which is one of my favorite albums of 2019. And I love that Sophia did all this beautiful art to coincide with the songs and kind of created the lyrics and made them a part of the art themselves. And yeah, it's a beautiful zine. And if you love Minsky and then if you love the Be the Cowboy album, you should check it out. I'm definitely going to leave a link in the bio where you can pick it up. And yeah, that's the end of the show, guys. This week was a pretty short one due to the subject matter being comics, but of course, you can always email me any book ideas or zine ideas that you want me to check out to the blackbibliophile@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I keep everything updated there. And if you want to donate to the pod, you can go on our Patreon, which is Black Bibliophile Podcast Patreon, and leave a donation. I have a book club there, and I post episodes early, and sometimes you even get some special episodes, which I'm trying to upload this week. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll talk to you next week.